What's going on, guys? Welcome in. I am Kadarius Washington, and this is the Sports Rundown. It is a pleasure to have you in. And as always, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified of when I post again. And also follow me on Twitter and on Blue Sky at CW Talk Sports. That's CWTALKS Sports. And I think you already know where I'm going to start today. Rory did it. Rory McIlroy finally snaps his 11-year-long major win drought. And not only that, Rory McIlroy finally has his first green jacket. He finally has his career Grand Slam. And I'm going to be honest with you folks. Before Sunday, I really wanted to do a Never a Doubt show for Rory McIlroy, but there were several instances on Sunday where I had doubt. I mean, for one, he double bogeyed on the first hole on Sunday, and I was looking saying, Rory, you gotta be kidding. You can't start like this, man. And then he eventually got it going. He got a par on two. He birdied on back-to-back holes in three and four and just had the thing going. And then par after par after par, and then birdie after birdie. And then Rory started to get a comfortable lead. And I said, oh my gosh, Rory's gonna do it. Rory McIlroy is actually gonna do it. And then he bogeyed on 11, hit a ball in the water on 13, ended up double bogeying there, bogeyed on 14, and I said, "Oh my gosh, here we go again. Rory McIlroy is about to choke away another major." And then on hole 15, Jim Nantz, who was absolutely phenomenal on the call for CBS, he coined that shot on 15 for McIlroy, the shot of a lifetime. And it was. He birdied on 15, par 16, and then birdied again on 17 after an absolutely incredible shot. And then on 18, when Justin Rose, the only player for him left to beat, was already in the clubhouse warming up for a potential play-in, Rory McIlroy had a 5-foot putt on 18 for all the marbles, for the green jacket, for the career Grand Slam. And you know what he does? He missed the putt. Rory McIlroy missed the 5-foot putt. Now listen, I saw those putts those golfers were making at the Masters and pretty much all the golf that I've been watching, and those things I understand are harder than they look. But he missed the putt. He bogeys on that one, and then we go to a playoff on 18. And both Rose and McIlroy hit incredible shots, beautiful shots. But Rory hit the better shot to approach to the green. And I figured that it was going to be a bit of a long shot for Justin Rose to put it on the playoff hole. And it was. It turned out to be that way. And then Rory made the putt and got the career Grand Slam, joining Gene Sarazen, Ben Hogan, Gary Player, and Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus, of course, as the only players to ever achieve the career Grand Slam, and the first to do it since Tiger Woods in 2000. 25 years, man. And Rory actually becomes the second player to achieve winning the career Grand Slam at the Masters, with the last one being Sarazen in 1935. And I gotta say about Justin Rose, I mean, he played well enough to win this thing. He was the leader in the clubhouse for the first couple of days and then had a rough go of it on Saturday, and then missing that putt on that playoff hole. And he hit incredible shots. I mean, he birdied on 18, which was phenomenal. But I mean, you gotta feel sick for Justin Rose. And there were a couple of other golfers in the mix. Patrick Reed was in the mix. Ludwig Oberg was in there for a little while. And I thought on Saturday heading into Sunday that we would get a Rory McIlroy, Bryson DeChambeau duel for the green jacket, as Rory is the face of the PGA and well, the PGA Tour rather, and Bryson DeChambeau is the face of the Live Golf. But DeChambeau did not play well on yesterday. But nevertheless, it was a very, very dramatic round of golf yesterday at the Masters. But nevertheless, Rory prevailed. And it's one of those things in sports where you remember where you were when it happened. And this is definitely an all-time moment in the Masters, an all-time great tournament. Really, when you think about it, with all the drama and all the ups and downs of Sunday, the final round, as far as that's concerned. But nevertheless, Rory McIlroy finally has his green jacket and finally has his career Grand Slam. Also taking place on Sunday was the last day of the NBA's regular season. We had the Warrior Clipper game go to overtime. I didn't really catch as much of it as I wanted to because I was in tune to the Masters, but the Clippers got the win there, setting up the play-in for tomorrow and Wednesday. We got the Hawks taking on the Magic in the first 7-8 game, and then we got the Grizzlies taking on the Warriors in the second one. And then on Wednesday, we have the 9-10 matchups, the Heat taking on the Bulls and the Mavericks taking on the Kings. And the winner of the 7-8 game in the East gets the Celtics, and then the winner of the 9-10 winner, 7-8 loser matchup will get the Cavs. And then the West, the 7-8 winner gets the Rockets. And then the 9-10 winner, 7-8 loser, the winner of that game will get OKC. But a couple of the other playoff series are set. In the East, we got the Pacers taking on the Bucks, which is not really the sexiest matchup if you think about it. But I think it's going to provide some good, entertaining hoops. And then you've got the Knicks taking on the Pistons. Which I think is going to be an incredible series. And listen, the pressure's on the Knicks. I mean, all the I feel like the most pressure in this playoff is on the Knicks, because if they get bounced early, and it's very realistic with this Piston team, if they get bounced early, I mean, Tom Thibodeau, I believe, is as good as gone, because they came close to making the Eastern Conference final last year, but of course, they got bit by the injury bug at the wrong time, and then the injuries just came too much to overcome. And then, of course, now with this Nick team, really underperformed relative to expectation. I mean, I wasn't really a fan of the Karl Anthony Towns, Julius Randle trade and the DiVincenzo trade, because I really didn't like DiVincenzo getting traded away there. But nevertheless, the pressure is on the Knicks as far as the postseason is concerned. And then in the West, we've got the Nuggets taking on the Clippers, which is going to be an incredible series. And the Nuggets locking up home court anyway, despite firing Mike Malone last week. And then you've got the Lakers taking on the Timberwolves, and that is going to be an absolutely incredible series. Of course, we get the play-in games over the next couple of days, and then the playoffs tip off on Saturday. And I am definitely looking forward to all of it. And then we got the news earlier today, no surprise, really. Mike Budenholzer gets fired as Phoenix head coach. And the thing about it, too, this is their third head coach firing in the last 3 years. I mean, after firing Monty Williams, they fired Frank Vogel, who was a one and done, and now they get rid of Budenholzer, who's a one and done, especially falling to, I believe, 13 in the West, despite having the highest payroll in NBA history. I mean, and along with that too, I think it's time for a full-blown rebuild for the Suns, because if you weren't going to win with that team, you're not going to win with them at all. Kevin Durant, I believe, is going to be out of there. Devin Booker, I think Phoenix is going to work on a trade for him. And I can also see Phoenix doing everything they can to get out of that Bradley Beal contract. I mean, That was a bad contract to begin with, given his history. But my goodness, the Phoenix Suns in absolute disarray after after making it to the NBA Finals in 2021, and now that kind of feels like an eternity ago. But nevertheless, it's time for a full-blown rebuild and to start things over for the Phoenix Suns. And looking at this MVP race one more time as the regular season concludes, Nikola Jokic becomes the third player to ever average a triple double for a season. And it's crazy to think about how Russell Westbrook, who was the second player to do it, both him and Jokic are on the same team, which is incredible. I mean, and along with that, SGA leading OKC to that 68-14 record, 16 that which is the best record in the league and the best in the West by 16 games. Now, this was a very contested race for the majority of the season, especially down the stretch, but I think blind guess right now, I say SGA wins the MVP over Nikola Jokic. I wouldn't be mad if Jokic won, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, Jokic already has 3 MVPs, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander having the season that he had for OKC, and of course leading his team to a record like that and being a very dangerous team. Now, it probably I think right now the favorite to come out of the West too. So it's going to be very interesting to see how things play for them. And I have a couple of baseball notes that I want to get into, especially with the teams around here being the Nationals and the Orioles. I mean, with my Washington Nationals, we actually got 2 out of 3 over the Dodgers. I mean, how in the world do the Nationals go from winning 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers, the reigning champion Dodgers, and then we turn around and lose 2 out of 3 to the Marlins? I mean, come on. And along with that, the Orioles, they're really not doing any better than us, losing 2 out of 3 to the Diamondbacks and getting shut out 9-0 on Wednesday. So both the Nationals and the Orioles, both of them are 6-9. The O's are dead last in the AL East, and the Nationals are fourth in the NL East behind the 4-11 Braves, who every time I watch the Braves, I lose more and more hope in the Braves. I did not think that the Braves were gonna be like this, but enough about them. I mean, with the Nationals, really sometimes I wake up and I feel like I was catfished into being a Nationals fan. I mean, it's like the Nationals get only one good season every decade. I mean, of course, winning the World Series in 2019 and then just losing after losing after losing. And the Orioles, kind of as I expected anyway, not doing as much better. I mean, not really doing much in the off season, and now they're paying the price for it so far early in the season. So another storyline that I want to get into is the Tennessee quarterback situation. So Nico Emiliava, who led Tennessee to the playoff last year, apparently wanted more money in his NIL deal. And so he held out on Friday, and Tennessee held their ground, announced that they were going to move in another direction, and Nico Emiliava has entered the transfer portal. I mean, I guess Nico kind of found out the hard way that holding out in college is not really as effective as holding out in the NFL. And the unfortunate thing about it, this is just how college sports is now. I mean, we had the situation last season where the UNLV quarterback, despite going 4-0, said that he was going to redshirt and enter the transfer portal because of unfulfilled promises with the NIL. And then we get situations like that going in Tennessee. So so regulations on this NIL stuff in college sports, it can't come soon enough. And Tennessee, I mean, what are they going to do about a quarterback? I mean, I don't even think they have a viable quarterback on that roster. Now, I didn't really look at the Tennessee roster, but I'm interested to see what they do as quarterback as far as that situation is concerned. And speaking of quarterbacks, how about Derek Carr for the Saints getting the news earlier this week that his availability for this upcoming season is in doubt due to a shoulder injury. And if he has surgery on it, I mean, he could be done for. So, by the looks of things, the Saints are going to be looking for a quarterback. And according to the draft board, the Saints have the number 9 pick in the draft, and they currently have them taking Jackson Dart out of Mississippi, who is a quarterback who I feel like has been a little bit under the radar as far as talk is concerned. I mean, of course, we were talking about Cam Ward, who in all likeliness is going to be the number 1 pick in the draft for Tennessee, and then Shedeur Sanders probably going to end up in New York with that number 3 overall pick. But I haven't really heard a lot of talk about Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe as of late. And a couple of other quarterbacks, Dylan Gabriel and Will Howard. I mean, we were spending our time talking about Shedeur and Cam Ward. I think the talk has kind of gotten a little quiet as far as the other 4 quarterbacks are concerned heading into the draft. So, but nevertheless, I'm interested to see Dart, Milroe, and Gabriel and Howard and see where they land up, and of course how things work out for them. And it's crazy to think about that the NFL draft is next week. I mean, my goodness. I mean, the NFL, I mean, it's pretty much a year-round thing, of course, with the draft and then, well, the combine last month and then the draft this month and then all the OTAs and situation going on there. But nevertheless, the NFL draft taking place next week. And speaking of drafts, the WNBA draft is tonight, and Paige Beckers, the star out of UConn, projected to go number 1 overall to the Dallas Wings. We did have a couple of trades in the WNBA too. The Minnesota Lynx traded their number 11 pick to the Chicago Sky for a 2026 first rounder. So Chicago has the number 10 and the number 11 pick for tonight's draft. And another thing, too, the Washington Mystics traded Carly Samuelson to the Minnesota Lynx for a 2026 first rounder, which, by the way, I think is an incredible move for the Mystics. As I stated a few women's basketball rundowns ago, they're in a full-blown rebuild. And, of course, this was another great move for building their draft capital. And in the first round, I mean, we have only 6 teams picking in the first round. Dallas has 2 picks. The Mystics have 3 picks at 4, 5, and no, 3, 4, and 6. And then you've got the Sun with the 7th and the 8th pick. You got the Sky at 10 and 11. And then you've got the only other teams being the LA Sparks and Seattle Storm, which I think is very interesting there. And I will do a women's basketball rundown tomorrow to break down the WNBA draft and, of course, some of the other storylines that have been going on in women's basketball and especially the transfer portal. And it has definitely been crazy times over there. So I would pay attention to that. Well, folks, that's going to do it for the sports rundown. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, click that notification bell. Follow me on Twitter and on Blue Sky at CW Talk Sports. That's CWTALKS Sports. And I will see y'all the next time. Peace.